Election Day. Mississippi is a battleground. Let me tell you, the men and women here and across this state are in the position to decide this outcome. I'm going to ask each of you not just to come out tomorrow, but to pick up the phone and call 5 people, call 10 people, call your friends, call your family, call your neighbors, and say this election matters. It matters to me. It matters to my kids and my grandkids.
Texas Senator Ted Cruz had 2 big wins this past Saturday. He won the Republican contest in Kansas and Maine. And joining us now, the man himself, 2016 Republican presidential candidate Senator Ted Cruz. Senator, time on Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Nevada, and then boom. It's like you're not even aware that 3 days of contest, then more contests. Very difficult. It speeds up exponentially. How do you feel where you are right now in terms of the delegate count and the path to the nomination?
Well, Sean, it's great to be with you, and thank you. You know, we've had an incredible week, and the momentum behind our campaign, it keeps growing and growing. You know, it started a week ago on Super Tuesday. Super Tuesday was simply a tidal wave of support for our campaign as we locked down wins across the country. And then this Saturday, that momentum only increased. This Saturday, we won 2 states outright. We won Kansas with a landslide, nearly 50% of the vote. We also won Maine with a terrific win there. And then in Louisiana and Kentucky, in Louisiana, we tied Donald Trump for the delegate outcome. So we ended up coming out with a dead heat. He narrowly edged us out in Kentucky. But I think what we're seeing is the continuation of the process that's been happening from the beginning, which is the field narrowing. You know, we started this campaign a year ago with 17 candidates. More and more, the forces that do not want to see Donald Trump as our nominee, that don't want to see Donald go head-to-head with Hillary and lose, as he loses in just about every poll, Hillary trounces him. More and more Republicans are unifying behind our campaign because we've got to win, we've got to beat Hillary, and we've got to turn this country around and bring back the jobs and opportunity that have been so sorely lacking under Barack Obama.
Senator, to me, as an outsider looking in, I see a 2-man race right now, and unless Senator Rubio or Governor Kasich can show some serious growth in the next couple of weeks, to me it's a 2-man race. And in many ways, as you read social media, it's the Trump, anti-Trump forces. Donald Trump says he wants a one-on-one race with you, and you say you want one with him. It seems the establishment won't allow that to happen. Is that a fair analysis?
Well, listen, I think the other candidates in this race, they're good people, and they love their country. They love their country more than their own personal ambition. They're going to have to look at the race and see if they have a path ahead. And if they don't have a realistic path ahead to winning the nomination, then I think it's time to consider coming together and uniting. At this point, Donald and I, in the delegate count, fewer than 100 delegates separate us. We both have over 300 delegates. We are very close. The momentum is with us. And we are the only campaign that has beaten Donald repeatedly, not once, not twice, but now 7 times. And we're the only campaign that can and will beat Donald Trump. And so the process we're seeing, you know, I would invite supporters of Jeb Bush or Chris Christie or Carly Fiorina or Ben Carson or Marco Rubio or John Kasich to come together and unite. That's what's been happening. It's why we're winning these races. And I invite folks to continue to unite. We welcome you on our team, and we're going to win this nomination. We're going to go on to win the general.
I heard your comments about a brokered convention. Now, I interviewed at CPAC Governor John Kasich. He says, a brokered convention would be exciting. Why do I think that a brokered convention, if neither you nor Donald Trump get to the magic number of 1,237 delegates, why do I believe that in that environment, knowing how the establishment feels about both of you for different reasons, that it would be to stop you guys and give it to somebody else? Mitt Romney said, well, I can't say no if somebody asks you to be on the ballot at that point. It seems that is an effort that has even been spelled out by Governor Romney. That is troubling to me, because that would usurp the will of the people at that point. If the person that has the most delegates doesn't get that nomination, why do I suspect shenanigans in the back room?
Sean, you're exactly right. Listen, these visions of a brokered convention are the fevered fantasies of the Washington establishment, of the lobbyists who are so dismayed because they keep each of their favorite candidates keeps losing. They have candidates they want, and the voters don't want them. They want someone who will stand up to the bipartisan corruption of Washington, someone who will stand with the people. And you're right, if the party insiders try to subvert the will of the people and pick their own favorite candidate who hasn't earned the votes of the people, it will be a disaster, and rightfully people will rise up outraged. Now, let me tell you right now, Sean, it ain't going to happen. They may think it's really a popular idea in Washington, D.C., but here's what's going to happen. The field is continuing to narrow. Head-to-head, not only do we beat Donald Trump, but we beat Donald Trump resoundingly. Donald has a hard ceiling of 35 to 40%. That's why we won Kansas overwhelmingly. That's why we won Maine. That's why we won Alaska and Oklahoma. That's why we won Texas overwhelmingly. Because Donald has a hard ceiling on the support that he can get, and head-to-head, we're not headed to a brokered convention. We are headed to a win to 1,237 delegates.
Let me ask you this.
And that entails Republicans uniting.
I know you have your issues with Donald. He has his issues with you. You two have gone back and forth now, and the voters will decide. But when you really think about it, because I kind of view you as an insurgent outsider, because you're hated by the establishment, and you can't deny he's an outsider, just by the fact that he hasn't been in politics. So 18 out of 20 contests, Senator, have been won by outsiders, and the establishment is throwing money here, there, and everywhere, and it's not working. What are they not getting in this process? They seem to be out of touch with where the voters are. What are they not understanding? I would argue that they caused this.
Well, look, Sean, you're exactly right that the voters want an outsider. They're fed up. They're furious with Washington. The one thing I disagree with you on is Donald Trump is not an outsider. He is pretending to be an outsider. But in Donald's own words, 7 months ago, he was the establishment. Donald Trump has been supporting the Washington establishment, the Washington corruption, for 4 decades. He supported Jimmy Carter over Ronald Reagan. He supported Harry Reid and Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden. He supported John Kerry over George W. Bush, and he contributed multiple times to Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. So to all the folks at home who are Donald Trump supporters, who are furious with Washington, I get that. But Donald has been funding and supporting everything you're furious about. The Gang of 8 amnesty bill, Donald funded the Gang of 8. He supported 5 of the 8 members of the Gang of 8. I led the opposition to the Gang of 8 amnesty bill, and we defeated it in the U.S. Congress. And so the people want someone who will stand up to Washington. Donald Trump has not only never stood up to Washington, but he has funded their corruption. And, at the last debate, Sean, Donald promised everyone, he said he will be, quote, flexible. Well, we all know flexible is D.C. code word for they're getting ready to stick it to you, because whenever you're flexible, it means Donald is going to cut a deal that favors Wall Street and big business and leaves the working man out in the cold.
How do you feel about tomorrow, for example? You got Michigan and Mississippi, the 2 big states. You got Idaho and Hawaii. How well are you planning to do tomorrow?
Look, I hope we do very well tomorrow. We are campaigning hard. We were in Idaho 2 days ago, had incredible support and enthusiasm about Idaho. I think we're in a strong position there. I'm right now in Mississippi. We've got tremendous excitement here in Mississippi. Later tonight, I'm going to be in Michigan. We've got a huge rally planned in Michigan. Why I'm hopeful we'll also continue to see what we've been seeing, which is conservatives uniting and coming together. If you want someone who has kept his word. When we had the Super Tuesday victory in Texas, it was particularly meaningful because the people of Texas, they're the ones who know me best. They know my heart. They're the ones that I made promises to 5 years ago when I ran for Senate. I promised the people of Texas, if you elect me, I will fight with every breath in my body to stop Obamacare, to stop amnesty, to stop this debt that is bankrupting our kids and grandkids, to bring back jobs and economic growth, and to defend religious liberty and the Second Amendment. And the reason we won by a landslide election in Texas with the biggest turnout ever is because the men and women of Texas know that I kept my word. I did what I said I would do, and that's what I'll do as president, and that's why I believe Republicans are uniting behind our campaign.
And welcome back to Hannity, and we continue now with 2016 Republican presidential candidate, Texas Senator Ted Cruz. Senator, walk us through your path to 1237, because a lot of people, at least your opponents, are arguing, let me just say that your better states are behind you. They keep repeating that. I'll let you respond to that, but more importantly, tell us what states you think you can win as you move forward that get you to that magic number.
Well, you're right. My opponents keep repeating that, but they keep not winning any states. The simple reality is there are only two candidates that have more than 300 delegates. That's Donald Trump and me. And we continue amassing delegates state by state. And the more this field narrows, the stronger we get. Because the truth of the matter is Donald has a hard ceiling of 35 to 40%, which means head-to-head we beat him, and we will beat him in state after state after state, head-to-head, because Republicans want a real conservative. They don't want a candidate who supported Jimmy Carter and Hillary Clinton and John Kerry. They want someone who will actually repeal Obamacare. And I'll tell you, Republicans are not interested in someone like Donald Trump who promises to be flexible on immigration, who tells the New York Times editorial board that he doesn't mean what he says about enforcing the immigration laws. We want someone who stands with the people and not with the corruption of Washington, and that's why the support for our campaign keeps growing and growing.
One of the things that has frustrated me as a conservative over these many years is that for a Republican to win, they've got to run the table. They got to win Florida. They got to win Ohio. They got to win North Carolina, Virginia, New Hampshire, Iowa, New Mexico, maybe Colorado, Nevada. It seems to be a moral path. Historically, it's been that way. Through the Bush years, it was that way. Do you think you can change the electoral map?
Absolutely, yes. This is a campaign designed to change the electoral map. Number one, we got to bring conservatives back to the polls, and we're doing that. We're winning these states with record turnouts. We won the state of Kansas with more votes just for our campaign than the entire primary field last cycle came out. We won with record turnouts in Alaska, in Maine, in Texas, in Oklahoma. We are seeing record turnouts, and it's bringing conservatives back. But it's also Reagan Democrats. It's the blue-collar, working class, the men and women with calluses on their hands, who are right now divided between Donald Trump and me. We're bringing more and more of them over to us. We're also earning the votes of young people. And Sean, it's real simple. If I'm elected president, we are going to repeal Obamacare. We'll adopt a simple flat tax. We'll abolish the IRS. We'll end amnesty. We'll pull back the EPA and the bureaucrats, and we're going to see jobs explode. Millions of high-paying jobs, wages going up, young people coming out of school with 2, 3, 4 job offers.
I hope you can get your colleagues in Washington to go along with you, because they've been very disappointing, Senator. Very disappointing.
That is true, but there is nothing like a mandate from the people to focus minds in Washington, and we will come out just like the Reagan Revolution in 1980 with a mandate from the people. I
understand you have a special guest next to you that just endorsed you tonight. The Mississippi Governor, Phil Bryant, is with you. Is that correct?
Senator.
Governor, that is indeed.
Welcome to Mississippi.
Thank you, Governor.
Sean, how are you?
I'm good, Governor. How are you? Welcome to the program.
I'm great.
So why did you wait so long?
This has been a difficult decision for a lot of us. A lot of us know candidates in there, but when it comes down to a true conservative, as I am, Ted Cruz, Senator Cruz has exemplified it. He went to Washington, did what he said he was going to do. How rare is that? You just heard him talk about economic development. Mississippi is all about economic development. And the first thing we have to do, and I know he'll do as President of the United States, I have to do as Governor, is protect the people against threats both foreign and domestic. And as you hear Ted Cruz with great passion talk about ISIL and ISIS and how we're going to go about defeating them, I believe him. I believe he's going to Washington and do what he's done because he's done that before.
All right. Thank you, Governor, for being with us. Senator, I think we're putting together a 1-hour town hall with you later this week, and hopefully we can get that worked out. We look forward to seeing you. I heard you were sick. Glad you're feeling better, sir.
Well, thank you, Sean. God bless. And everyone in Mississippi, Michigan, Idaho, and Hawaii, come out and vote tomorrow. Come join our team. Let's stand together, and we're going to turn the country around.